Welcome to Under the Hard Hat Lessons Learned with ACI Young Professionals. I'm Rebecca Helt, Marketing and Events Manager here at Allied Construction Industries, and it is my pleasure to serve as your series host. This podcast was created to share real stories and practical lessons from leaders across the commercial construction industry. For episode 2 today, we are focusing on family and multi-generational careers in construction. Joining us today are Jeff Smoker, Vice President of Preconstruction, and Jeff Smoker II, Preconstruction Manager, both with Skanska. And interviewing them will be our YP host, Miss Claire Duncan, Project Manager at Messer Construction. The conversation that we're going to have is going to look at what it's like to build careers across generations, how lessons are passed down, how leadership evolves, and how family dynamics can shape professional growth in this industry. To our live audience here at ACI and to those streaming online, we're glad you're part of this conversation. Without further ado, let's go under the hard hat.
I am Claire Duncan with Messer Construction, and I'm joined here by Jeff and Jeff with Skanska. Father-son duo, you share the same first and last names. I imagine that can be pretty challenging, on a day-to-day basis.
Our email addresses are separated by a letter and a period.
A letter and a period. That makes it pretty easy for everyone internal to Skanska, doesn't it?
And external.
Yeah. Right. So just for my sanity and the audience's today, is there anything that we can use to decipher you by, maybe rattle off some nicknames between the two of you?
I mean, I cordially call him Senior on a pretty regular basis.
Senior, okay.
Or the original.
Or the
original, the OG, okay.
I answer to anything. Whatever somebody wants to call me.
2.0.
We could ask the audience. Since it's mostly Skanska.
Yeah, 2.0.
No, for today, JD's fine.
JD, okay.
We can go with that.
And Senior's great.
All right. Well, we may have a mix of those coming throughout the evening, but
whatever works.
Anyways, we'll start off. Just start off by telling us, who you are, how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, boy. Well, mine was a bit of a twisted tale, I guess I would say. First of all, it started out with my dad, Dan Smoker, who's here in the audience today, in 1973-ish. Taking the risk and making a decision to start a construction company. So he's the reason that we're a construction family. Spent a lot of years working with him through high school, working with my hands. He built a lot of residential and multifamily residential over in northern Kentucky. So he's the one that started all that. And then kind of moving on into my high school years. I mean, I always assumed that I'd be in construction because I always worked with him. I would say my path took a little bit different turn than I expected because in my senior year of high school, my high school sweetheart and I had an unplanned pregnancy. And so a lot of things changed for me at that point. And it's probably not surprising to some people who can do math and know that he's 36 and I'm 54, and it's like that math is a little weird.
I was the result of that pregnancy.
For anyone wondering.
And he's finding that out right now. So
Wouldn't that be the ball drop?
But I share that because that was absolutely pivotal in my life. So it was the beginning of my story as a leader. There were two things I took from that. First of all, my decisions have a pretty drastic effect on the outcome of my life. And then, of course, we had very supportive parents. But in addition to that, we had two couples that had no reason to step into our lives at that time. To get choked up. We're 2 minutes in and I'm already getting choked up.
You need comedic relief at this point, or
let's get deep first, man.
Let's just go. Let's go right there. But two couples that stepped into our lives at that time that really had no reason to, but they decided that they were going to build into us And even to this day, one of those couples is still a strong mentor to my wife and I. And so it taught me also the value of being willing to step into people's lives and build into other people sacrificially. And so that was, I was kind of a shit in high school, and that really, am I allowed to say that on a podcast?
You admitted it though, so
you'll
that's
delete
step
that?
one.
All right. That was a turning point for me. And so my wife and I got married, had our first child, and 18 months later had a second child.
It was so much fun the first time around.
Because we were like, hey, we do everything the hard way. And then I decided to go back to college. And so I was probably at least in my class, I was the only college senior dropping his son off at kindergarten before he went to UC for his classes for the day. So that was a little different. But again, really just kind of taught me the value of digging in and doing the hard work. My dad was always an example to me of a strong work ethic. But that time in my life taught me what it meant to really, really work. And so that was really meaningful, I think, for the rest of my career. So coming out of college, graduated from UC, construction management.
Go Bearcats.
Go Bearcats. 1996. It was a good time to be in the industry. All of us were coming out with multiple offers. So the way I decided which offer I was going to take is who was offering me $200 more a month. And
right. Easy decision.
Yeah, you're right. It was like, wow, that's a big deal. And within a month of taking that job, realized what a poor decision that was. And so I worked for Floor Daniels for about 9 months, and then went back to Turner and said, hey, I made a mistake in turning you guys down. What do you think about extending that offer? And they were willing to do that. And I had an opportunity to go to work for Rich Homan. Fantastic first boss, learned so much from him. Even today, in the last few years, had an opportunity to tell him how much I appreciate him. But fantastic person. So I worked for Turner for 10-ish years. And then just, the construction is not easy. There's a lot of strain, a lot of hours. I had a young family. In that time, we had 3 more kids. So we had 5 kids. And I just felt the need to be able to be more present. And so made a conscious decision to go to a smaller company, Fox Construction, who is still around. And Monica Fox actually is on the board with ACI now. And great family-owned company. And I had a great experience there for 10 years. Had the opportunity to kind of stretch my leadership wings a little bit, experiment a little bit, and learn some new things. And then most recently came to Skanska, and that's been almost 10 years now. Came into Skanska in an operations role, assumed that I would always be in operation, really never had a thought or serious desire to be in pre-construction. And about 2019, did I just knock this off?
Yeah, you did.
Great.
Start over.
2019, there was a need in the office. Our pre-construction had, a number of people had left. It was in disarray, and so an opportunity to step in there and become a leader in that space. What I didn't realize in 2019 when I took on the role was that 2020 was going to happen. And I suddenly had to become an economist to try to understand all the complexities of supply chain and escalation and hyper-escalation and the 4-year or the 30-year escalation curve and all that good stuff. So that's what brings me here today. Hopefully that long introduction gives you a little bit about who I am as a leader and what brought me here.
I was going to say, I don't think we have any
and
time
with that,
left, so
we'll wrap up.
Yep.
quite the podcast.
But that's all right.
Quite the
I mean, we
podcast.
had tears and everything already, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
the full gamut.
Got it all. Laughs, tears. All right, how about you, JD?
Yeah, I'll try to be a little bit more brief, but I did kind of start out the same way. I worked for my grandpa a little bit in high school, more in college, but I was told from a very young age, you're not going to go into construction. Like, let's find another path for you. So I played soccer at Bowling Green State University and actually was pursuing a criminal justice degree with the intention of going to law school, and so completely going down a different path than construction. My sophomore year in college, I decided that soccer was not going to take me beyond college, and it was taking up a lot of time. I also decided at that time that I didn't necessarily want to go back to school for 3 more years after getting my undergrad. So I'd always had a calling to serve my country, and I would say a calling above myself, and so I decided to apply for officer candidate school in the Marine Corps. And so I went down that path and graduated from officer candidate school in between my junior and senior year in college. Came back and finished my senior year and graduated, and then commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. And that would have been 2012. So that kind of took me on a journey as an officer in the Marine Corps. Did quite a bit of training on the front end of that, and then ended up being designated as an artillery officer. And I was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Deployed out of there a couple times. And then during that time, got married. And during that journey, kind of decided that making a career out of the Marine Corps was probably not in line with the long-term goals that I had to start a family, to be a present father to the kids I did not have yet, because I was planning on having a planned pregnancy. Don't edit that part out, please. But no, just decided that although the Marine Corps was a great path for me, I mean, the leadership and responsibility that I had from a very young age was above and beyond anything I could have expected, and definitely shaped me into who I am today. But anyways, all that to say, started looking at transitioning out of the Marine Corps again, looked at law school, decided again that if I wanted to start having kids and kind of put roots in the ground somewhere, that going back to school for another 3 years was not the most viable option. So just started looking at what my options were post-military, and obviously in conversation with Senior, kind of just was laying out my plans, and he had just started working for Skanska, probably a year and a half in at that point, and could not say enough good things about what Skanska, or who Skanska was, what they stood for, what they did. I honestly hadn't seen that much excitement from you in a long time, so that was encouraging. It kind of set the groundwork for, he then said, well, as you're networking, why don't you meet Chris Hopper, who's our general manager here in Cincinnati and Nashville, and just have lunch with him and get to know him, and he may be able to make some connections for you. Again, I still had no plan to go into construction at this point.
I was still telling you not to go into construction.
So, yeah, you made the introduction.
Well,
So anyways, all that to say, I
Some unresolved beef.
Yeah, right. Pain, right? Yeah. So I had lunch with Chris Hopper, and he had a lot of great things to say about what he was building here in Cincinnati, the people that he got to deal with on a regular basis. And I could just, there was a sense of passion that I really got out of that lunch. And again, coming out of that lunch, had no plan to go into construction, but it was a very influential lunch. And Chris did reach out, and there was an opportunity with Skanska actually in pre-construction.
can I give my perspective on that one?
Yeah, sure.
Because Hopper came back from that lunch and he goes, I said, how'd lunch go? Because he was supposed to just talk to you about like his network.
That was my intention.
And he goes, oh, it's great. I think we should hire him. And I was like, back up. Like, that is not going to happen. He
only
is
room for
not.
one Jeff.
Yeah, he's not going to be in construction. And he was like, no, I really think we should hire him.
So he, well, at the time, there was an opening in pre-construction. So Lynn Lee, who
My
actually
predecessor.
hired me and was Senior's predecessor, what Senior didn't mention is it's just too cold in Cincinnati for him, so he had to move back down to Dallas. If he ever watches this, this is his shout out.
Him and two other people.
Yeah. So anyways, Chris offered, Lynn offered, and I took the opportunity to join a company that I saw a lot of excitement in. Wasn't quite sure on the construction side of things, especially commercial construction. Obviously, I knew residential, knew multifamily, but didn't understand the commercial construction business or industry as a whole. So there was obviously a learning curve coming for me, but jumped right in. And again, started in pre-construction, then an opportunity opened up in operations, and I felt like for me to get a well-rounded understanding of what commercial construction was and what the industry offered, I needed to take that opportunity. So went over to the operations side, spent about four and a half years in operations, and then just this past January of 25, a role opened up I would say an opportunity opened up in pre-construction to come back. And so I jumped on that role, and I've been in pre-construction for the last year or so, working together.
Yeah, it's working out okay.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
just for everyone in the room, anyone newer to the industry, how would you describe what you do on a daily basis to somebody that isn't in the industry?
Control chaos.
I typically describe it as, there's a ton of stuff that has to happen prior to shovels going into the ground for construction. So all of the stuff that happens prior to shovels going into the ground, whether it's estimating, purchasing, scheduling, that's the whole pre-construction process.
Right.
So that's how I describe it. How about you?
I would say as an industry, kind of the way I would describe what we do is fairly straightforward. We partner with clients and owners and design personnel to bring to life the built environment. So obviously there's the pre-construction side of that, and then there's the operation, the building side of that. So looking at it holistically, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But not at the same time.
So, there's lots of crossover, I imagine, even between you two in the office every day. Now, how do you keep this away from the dinner table?
Our wives.
Yeah.
My mother and my wife.
Yeah,
in a good way.
We're not so good at that. The other thing is, I said I have 5 kids, 4 of them are sons, and obviously there's a little bit of I'll say a challenging dynamic there, because they see us getting to work together, and so there's I wouldn't say tension, but there's something there, right? So we have to be very careful not to talk about work, because I don't want my other sons to feel like somehow that he's the favorite son.
Right, or FOMO, if you will, in the YP.
I'm definitely not the favorite son. I think the youngest brother has that pretty much on lock.
We don't need to go into the family. We don't need to get into the family here. This is just a podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
But
anybody that's the youngest knows what I mean.
So we are very careful about not, or I would say we at least try not to talk about work.
Yeah, and all joking aside, it does take effort. It is very easy to quickly fall into, hey, did you hear about this? Or, hey, did you hear about that? Or, hey, what do you think about that? And I think you can attest to this. It does take away from family functions if we just let it divulge into work only. So I would say trying to keep family at the forefront, which I'm sure we'll get into, but is something that is a value that I think we share and we try to share as a family. So keeping that in mind makes it a little bit easier to stay away from the work side and let the family dynamics be what they are.
Is there any time at the dinner table that maybe you've come to a conclusion on something, though? Or do you feel like you have been able to problem solve better having had the relationship as father and son in such a close dynamic?
Why don't you answer first?
Ooh. The first hard question? You want me to answer?
I can go, but I don't know. I want to know your perspective.
I mean, I would say there's a certain level of trust there, just being father and son, being family, having been raised by him, obviously. So there was a lot of just conversations and ideas and input that helps come to conclusions, helps drive decision making. So yeah, I would say that in a lot of ways that our relationship does help us come to conclusions and decisions, but not as directly as you would think that they would just because we're father and son.
Right.
Yeah. I appreciate your perspective. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I knew I heard that laugh out there.
What a politically correct way to, to speak to yourself.
I guess I'm the politically correct.
No.
Let's see what you have to say.
I think the challenging part about it is it's really easy for me to revert back to being dad.
Right.
And I think that when I do that, it shuts him down. So rather than getting all of his input, I think that I can cause him to not give me all his input because I can be an ass sometimes. So there's that.
Yeah, there is that. You said it.
Now, this is a pretty heavy question. I will lead with that. But have there been any, nepotism concerns or pushbacks throughout either of your careers from just having a relationship within the same business that you work in now?
You want me to answer that one first too?
I'll go first. Yeah, I mean, I would say, especially as he stepped into this role,
right?
And it's legitimate. There are concerns there, and especially in a large corporation, right? And so we have to be very careful. We as an organization are very careful. I can't sit in any of his annual reviews. So there's a strong separation there to make sure that I'm not influencing his ability to advance in the company.
Right.
At the same time, I recognize there's reality and then there's perception, right?
Right.
And so there's no doubt that whether it's from the industry or from within Skanska even, that would be an issue. So I think we deal with it the best that we can. And I think, we're fortunate to have some really good coworkers that are understanding and all that and supportive. And
right.
We work through it.
Well, it also brings up, we kind of touched on it earlier, but just the overarching understanding of relationships and how they drive so much of construction. Yeah. With pre-construction, your relationships to subcontractors and everything. And it's just an interesting dynamic because you have so much trust rooted in the relationship that you two have already. So
that's really valuable too. I mean, I was just thinking about in our industry, you look at Tim and Brian Beischel or Jeff and Ben Reed or, on and on and on and on.
Albert and Josh and Justin.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to the Smithermans.
All the father-son teams that are out there.
Right.
And it's 100% because construction is about relationship and trust. And there is a level of trust within families that helps just make people more comfortable.
I agree. And I would say, too, there's just a certain level of authenticity that needs to be there. We never are on the level of, we're just father-son, so, it is we are where we are because of the relationship there. I would say a lot of it has to do with just, we love our coworkers, we're very real with our coworkers, and I appreciate our office for what it is in that light. And so, for me, I've never felt the pressure of nepotism in a negative way. I think we've always been able to deal with it, although it's there and it's real and it is something that at times needs to be addressed. I think if we're authentic with each other and authentic with our coworkers and understand where we're coming from, then it kind of takes away the negative light of nepotism and can be a good thing.
All right. Well, it seems like we're in a pretty deep spot, so I guess we'll continue on that note. JD, it's pretty tough, challenging, or it's pretty challenging, balancing having your dad also double as kind of a boss role. Like, would you say that your dad's opinion of you impacts you personally or professionally? And, how does that, how do you carry that home and share as much as you want? It's pretty emotionally vulnerable of a question, but.
Well, it helps that I feel like I've got like 5 fathers that work for Skanska that I have to juggle the perception and the weight of that.
Only one of them raised you as a teenager, though. So.
Yeah, there's that. That makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? And I'm going to ask you to ask the question again.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Because I have an answer molded in my mind, but I want to make sure that it ends up in line with.
Yeah, it's more so. Do you have an easy way of separating your dad professionally and personally, or do you feel like there is a mix? I guess that carries over. Like there's almost this pleasing dad versus pleasing the boss, and it's a pretty tough line, on a day-to-day basis to juggle. And do you feel like you carry like a lot of your own worth with work now because it ties into how to please your dad,
Yeah.
You are going
the
deep.
second,
sorry,
second time you asked the question.
Where do you get your self-worth?
Hard-hitting questions only on Under the Hard Hat.
Can you ask that again? No, it is very difficult. And what I would say is everybody wants their parents to be proud of them, right? And I think if you transfer the question over to Senior, he would say he wants his dad to be proud of him.
Right.
And so, it's a hard balance. I think having a family of my own and finding pride in my family and finding pride in my kids has transferred some of that, like constant wanting to appease or make my father proud. But that definitely is something that does weigh on me. And there is an easy outlet to just say how I perform at work is how I make my dad proud. But what I would say there is it gets a lot more personal beyond work. And so I know that I can make him proud from being a good dad. I know that I can make him proud from being a good husband. So it doesn't just have to be work related. So that makes it easier to separate, hey, yes, I want to make my dad proud at work, and I hope that I do, and I try to do so, just like I try to make Mike Mayberry proud on a daily basis, too. But, again, it makes it easier to say, hey, there's a higher order of pride that I'm trying to achieve, and it's not just work. It's family, and it's other achievements in life.
It's funny, though, I would say, too, as I get older and try to figure out what my legacy is and how I can help other men as they mature, like having a father that's proud of you is a big deal. Like, I can't tell you how many men I talk to that like have this wound because they don't know if their dad's proud of them. And so, it's a big deal for guys.
Absolutely. Yes. And do you feel like there's a tie there to, your mental health and construction? Of course, it's a more male industry. And have you seen any, larger shifts in your time and, throughout the generations, even since Dan, is running his own company?
Yeah, yes. Yes. There's a major difference now in how we handle mental and emotional health. I think the military is similar to construction. It's male dominated, and it's a suck it up and get it done. We don't talk about emotions here. And, I do think that's been damaging, frankly, for men in general. We really the only emotion that is acceptable for men to have is anger, and that's the way I lived my life for a long time. And so coming to grips with that and figuring out like what is the emotion behind that has been huge for me. And then mental health. I mean, frankly, if I go back to my time at Turner, a piece of me leaving Turner was to be more present with my family, but it was also I was in a really bad mental and emotional state. I was a kid when I had kids, and so there's baggage that comes with that. And
I mean, like you grow through that, right? And it it carries
Thanks
a
for
lot.
bailing me out.
I wasn't going to do it. I was going to
he was gonna let me sit in it. I think where I came with that is I had some pretty deep embedded promises that I'd made myself, because during that time I had let my family down, I had let myself down, I'd let my girlfriend down. There were all these things, and so I had said, moving forward, I will never fail again, and I will never ask for help. And
it's not a healthy balance.
No,
if you ask me.
That doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, going through college, it worked because I could sacrifice sleep or do whatever I had to make sure that I was successful and didn't have to ask for help. But then coming out into the work world, like you guys all know, we fail every day. And if we don't have a mechanism to be able to deal with that, and the only thing we do is internalize that, it's crushing. It's absolutely crushing. And to say I'm not going to ask for help, that's ridiculous. I look out here now at the Skanska folks that are sitting out here, and I would trust them with anything. I'd trust them with my life.
Yeah.
And to think early in my career that I couldn't ask for help was ridiculous. And so that's why now I feel very passionate about men being in a good emotional and mental state. And I'm glad to see that construction is taking strides towards embracing that, holding to that and helping people to be able to get to a really good space. So.
Yeah. I mean, construction is a 24/7 job, right? So having that separation and being able to remove yourself from the high stress, quick paced environment, I mean, that it's a necessity, really. So, all right. Well, I guess we can shift to a lighter note now. I think we got as deep as we possibly could go.
Can we ease
we're
back
in the trenches there. So we were touching on just some funny, jokes about you two having the same name. Have there been, any problems or funny stories that you all can share from, sharing an email that is only two a number apart from the
we've
other?
gotten pretty good at deciphering who's angry at who.
Yeah, that's true.
If I get an angry email from a subcontractor, well, that wasn't me.
Definitely was.
Forward that one along.
And I get to forward all the recruiters to him.
Yeah.
No, this one must be for you. Do you have any other funny ones?
No, it's your turn.
It does throw off even people within Skanska. So our new chief communications officer came into the Cincinnati office.
That was awkward.
Last week. And she's walking around the office getting introduced to people, and she gets introduced to Jeff. And she
goes, Jeff? And then sees me and she kind of backs off a little bit. Oh, wait, I thought you were somebody else.
Yes. She's like, no, we've met before. And he was like, no, you're talking about the guy back there.
Sits back in the corner. There's plenty of that, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Well, earlier you both explained that you've been in both operations and pre-construction. I would love for you to share, for anyone that has their whole career ahead of them, what were your favorite parts of each role?
I can start there. On the pre-construction side, I really like being engaged in the project early, and really driving the early success of that project, creating the relationship with the client, creating the relationship with the design firm, and getting to kind of...
Don't believe that. He likes to dress like this. That's what it is.
The Lululemon, I see.
Lululemon,
you look good, you play good. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right?
Keep telling yourself that. No, I'm just joking.
I got to make up for other things like that. You can't see podcasts. So.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, I enjoy the early relational side of things, and just being able to set a project up for success, or try to set a project up for success, and kind of set those expectations, set a baseline. So yeah, coming back to pre-construction from operations, that's what I was looking forward to the most, and what I've enjoyed coming back and participating in.
Yeah, for me, it's a weird thing on the operations side. What I miss the most is like the early morning before the sun comes up, and you get on site and the equipment's warming up, and you walk on site and the smell of the diesel, and like I don't know why, but
funny thing to miss.
I love that. Yeah, it's just something about that I just really miss. And what I would say on the pre-construction side, I'm a builder at heart. But what I've found as I've gotten further into my career, I get excited about building a lot of different things. So I love building buildings, obviously, but I also like building teams and building up people. And that I have found just as fulfilling as building buildings. And so that's what I've had the opportunity to do as I lead pre-construction, is really scratch that itch as far as building good teams, building good people, those kind of things. So
yeah.
And to kind of tie into that, on the operations side, for me, the most enjoyable side of it, tying back to being a builder, is you get to see your daily decisions be put into action and see the physical results of those decisions, all the way down to the engineer level. You can talk to a contractor and come out 2 hours later and you see the result of a decision that you made or direction that you gave. And that's extremely fulfilling.
The result or the consequences?
Wow. I'm trying to stay positive up here.
So before we go into our final segment, which will be our fun quick fire round, I do have one final question for you. And it's, what's one thing that you learned the hard way that would have made your life so much easier if you just knew it right off the bat? And you can share this through maybe your most challenging project or an experience that you've had. But yeah, what's that one thing that you wish you knew?
Talk less and listen more. I can definitely be one that wants to assert myself and speak before I completely understand what's going on around me, or what different components need to be considered before I make a decision. And so I learned quickly in the Marine Corps, and it's something that I've continued to learn coming into construction, is being a good listener is just as important as being able to communicate.
It's good. Can you ask the question again? No, I'm just kidding. What I would say is just the value of a network, or the value of a following. So being the kind of person that people want to follow, and being very, very diligent and careful about creating that opportunity. I don't think I realized the value of that when I started my career, and it, especially in construction where it's about relationships, it is absolutely critical to have a following.
Just to piggyback off you, are there any soft skills that you would say that create that, that leader that you wish to see, or what do you particularly look for in a leader?
Yeah. I mean, some of it sounds trite, I mean, it's certainly humility, being able to say, I don't have all the answers, but I know how to ask the questions. I think empathy, being able to put yourself in somebody else's position. I think that goes a long way as a leader. And I guess communication, being able to set direction and then kind of rally the troops and say, hey, we're heading in this direction and this is why. And then get everybody together moving in the right direction. So
I think a lot of that can tie to authenticity. I mean, everybody knows a leader that they've walked up to and they don't have your best interest in mind, or you can tell that they're not in the moment of that conversation or in the moment of that leadership position. So I think a lot of that, I agree with you on everything, but a lot of that can tie back to just being authentic and connecting with your people, connecting with those around you, and building those relationships.
Well, that wraps up our question portion of this podcast. I want to thank you guys for your responses. I mean, they were really well thought out, and really appreciate you being so open and honest with us. Next,
I didn't cry, so
yeah.
evidently I wasn't open enough.
We're one
I
for
forgot.
two.
I like a leader that can cry too.
That's a good thing that you're not in his
Yeah, right.
reviews.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is now like what I consider more of a fun segment. The quick fire round is you fire off your answers as quick as possible to these pretty easy questions that I'm going to ask you. So number one is Skyline or Gold Star?
Skyline.
All right. Your favorite work boot brand?
Tacova.
See, that's
Office guy.
that's not a work boot.
It absolutely.
Well, they do have
work
okay.
boot line.
So work boots. I would say Ariat, but Tacovas are my favorite boots for sure.
Morning or afternoon meetings?
Morning, no doubt.
I would agree morning, but I know a lot of people don't like morning. Like 8 o'clock meetings seem to be a thing of the
That's fine. Let's
past.
do them 6 o'clock.
I don't disagree.
We'll go new build or renovation?
New build. Really?
We're talking historic renovation.
They're supposed to be quick. Come on.
Sorry. All right. New build.
All right. Graders or UDF?
Graders.
UDF.
UC or Xavier?
UC. Now I do have a brother that goes to Xavier though, so
I'll give Xavier a shot.
and he'll probably listen to this podcast too. So.
I'll put it this way: in the crosstown shootout, I'll usually pull for Xavier. Sorry for all UC guys and gals.
They just fight better. That's what it.
East side or west side?
West side.
Finneytown.
Yeah, you're north.
Central.
All right. Your favorite truck brand?
Ford.
Ram. I know,
Wow.
right?
Working in the winter or the summer?
Winter.
Winter. You can always put more clothes. You can't always take more clothes off.
Digital plans or physical plans?
Digital.
Physical. Absolutely physical.
DeWalt, Milwaukee, or other?
Milwaukee.
If it's work, definitely Milwaukee, but at home, Ryobi.
All right.
I don't need to spend big money for doing a home project. I use it once a week.
Last one we're going to go with is difficult client or challenging site?
I'll take a challenging site.
Yeah, I would agree.
You heard it here first.
Especially if you've got a good civil contractor.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So moving on, we are going to go to just some questions that the audience has had for you both. This is what I've been nervous throughout the entire podcast. So was there a particular lesson about the industry that you learned from Dan Smoker that you still use today? Dan is in the audience with us once again. Jeff Senior's dad.
Yeah, I'm going to answer this first, and then you can answer.
Go ahead.
All right. Because he was different by the time you worked with him.
I was actually going to use one that you probably would use. I wasn't going to use a nice one.
I learned the value of having just a lot of patience. What I would describe as a really long fuse. So my dad did not get angry often on the job, angry at other people. He got angry with me a lot. But he did not get angry with other trade contractors very frequently. I could probably point out 2 times that I remember of him getting really, really worked up. But just the value of having a steady hand and a cool head and being able to talk through things, it was a great example for me.
Yeah, I would say quality in what you do, like a passion for what you do. In fact, I'll give an example. I was at 9 o'clock last night cutting trim in my hallway for a project that my wife wanted to get done, that I wanted to get done as well.
She's going to be listening to this.
And I was making cuts, and every cut I made, I was thinking, would Grandpa be okay with this? Would he make me recut this? But I do think there's a valuable lesson there in being proud of the quality of work that you produce, being proud of what you put out there, because it is a representation of who you are.
Yeah, and put the same work into every step rather than just wanting it to look good at the end. Why did Senior warn 2.0 not to go into construction?
I'm going to mute my mic.
Well, I think I shared a little bit. My first 10 years in the industry, I had a lot of really great highs and I had a lot of lows. And I just saw it. I saw the effect that had on me and then the effect that had on my family. And so for a long time, that baggage for me kept me from wanting my kids to experience that. Again, as I shared before, what I've realized now is that was more of a me thing and not so much an industry thing. And so I think my focus now is more, well, hopefully you experience this. It's more about how do I help my kids to be healthy.
You obviously did not take his advice, so.
I tried to. Didn't work out.
I guess we'll finish off with this one. When JD disagrees with you, is sending him to his room an option?
Was that an Andy question? We'll just let that one lie.
Yeah.
But anyways, that really does wrap everything up. That's all we have. Nothing too crazy from the audience here today. So
Perfect.
I want to thank the audience. I want to thank you both so much for coming out and chatting with us. We'll turn it over to Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Claire. And Jeff, we really appreciate you being here today for sharing your time, stories, vulnerability, and experiences with us. Claire, fantastic job leading this conversation today. You absolutely killed it. And to our audience members, thank you so much for joining us here for episode 2 of Under the Hard Hat. We hope that this conversation gave you insight into what it's like building careers across generations, and that you took away some little nuggets of wisdom that you can apply to your own career. Coming up for our next episode, I'm excited to share that we'll be hosting a Women in Construction panel to go with Women in Construction Week. We will be focusing on authentic stories and meaningful conversations across our industry and how that landscape is evolving. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, or at aci-web.com. And if you know someone who would enjoy this conversation, please share it with them. And with that, thank you all for joining us and going under the hard hat.